Well, good morning.
Good morning.
I give praise and thanks to the Lord for allowing me to be here, and thanks and to Pastor Vaughn for this opportunity, and to all of my colleagues in the ministry and everybody who came out for a word from the Lord today. I got one for you. Okay, and I will be coming from John 6th chapter, the 16th through the 21st verse, but I'll only be reading the 21st verse. And it reads, "Then they willingly received him into the boat, and immediately the boat was at the land where they were going." In this passage, you might find at least three miracles. One is obvious. I'm done, you can sit. I said I was just going to read one verse. You can read the rest on your own, 16 through the 21st. It's a good passage. The first one is obvious and generally acknowledged, and that was that Jesus walked on the water. The other two are generally, we glide over them, and we don't give them as much attention, but they are significant. And that is that Jesus calmed the disciples' fears, and that's in verse 20. And then the third one is that he brought them to their destination immediately. And you ask, well, what are these miracles? Well, for one, Jesus walked on water. That shows that he reigns over nature. Jesus also reigns over the hearts and minds of the people as he gave them peace. And also, Jesus, being the author of time, allowed them to get to their destination immediately because they were in the middle of the sea. But when he got into the boat, they were immediately at their destination. Okay? So we see the divine nature and the control that Jesus has. And in this passage, we know that theologians generally talk about what is our reason for seeking Jesus. Is it because he is the Son of God? Is it because he is the creator? Or because he's the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end? Or because he's the author of time? Because he's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords? Or is it because we seek him for what he can do for us? Well, I'm here to calm your minds, because even the disciples dealt with these issues. And we all acknowledge that we need Jesus in these areas. So yes, it's natural for us to seek him because we need him. He is our creator. He is our provider. He's our sustainer. He's our protector. He is all that we need. So yes, we do seek him for that. But we also acknowledge his deity. We acknowledge he's omniscient, he's omnipotent, and that he is omnipresent. So I just don't want you to worry about that, but just know that in all these things we need Jesus Christ because he is our hope. Jesus was trying to get the disciples to a certain point in his ministry and teaching them in 3 years, just like he's trying to get us to a certain point in our journey with him. And in treating and dealing with the disciples, he first calmed their fears. He told them, "It is I." That's in verse 20. "Don't be afraid." And then they received him. After he acknowledged himself to them and after he calmed their fears, they willingly received him. When they willingly received him, when he was in their midst, when he was present to them, he brought them to their destination, even in the midst of the darkness. And I don't know, I'm sure pretty many of you have been in a situation where you've been in the company of other people, maybe sitting down to dinner with them or in a crowd, and they seem to be doing everything but paying attention to you. They're looking at their phone, texting, they're looking all around the room, looking at what's going on or paying attention to what somebody else is doing, but you're not there for them. So you're not present to them. But when the disciples received Jesus willingly, and when he was in their midst, when Jesus was present to them, when they focused on Jesus instead of on the storm, then they willingly received him, and he brought them to their destination immediately. Now, if you pray with me, the Holy Spirit will get us to where he wants us to be. Some of us can't reach our destination or fulfill our purpose in life because our focus is not on Jesus, it's on everything and everybody else. I ask again, how many of us are aware of the presence of God when we're worshiping, when we're sleeping, when we're grooming, when we're eating, when we're shopping, when we're frustrated and angry and about to say something or do something we know we shouldn't? Just be aware, God is always with us, and he will never leave us nor forsake us. That's a promise. But we don't always act like Emmanuel. We don't always act like Jesus is always with us. We don't always act like he sees and hears everything we do. But when Jesus becomes present to us, we act better. We have peace. We have assurance. We have joy. We have love. We have everything that we need. Now, the salvation that Jesus brings is more than just deliverance from hunger and physical pain and protection. Jesus brings eternal salvation, that peace that surpasses all understanding. And we know that in his presence, we know that he is in full control of all circumstances, and he is able to deliver, to bring you to an expected end, a good end, and not one of harm. In his presence, you know that you will be comforted. He can find you in your closed places where you don't want anybody else to go. And he can find you in the midst of all of your trouble. Sometimes we allow all of our circumstances to overwhelm us, and we start thinking about, well, this could happen or that could happen, and pretty soon all of these perceived dangers become more and forceful than the actual dangers that we face. Our minds begin to wander. But when Jesus approaches us with his comfort and deliverance, that folly of fear should disappear. We no longer begin to fear the help that Jesus brings and the comfort that he brings. If you bear with me, we're almost there. Willingly receive Jesus. And when we do that, Jesus lives in our lives. We focus upon him. We are aware of his presence. He gets our attention. Yes, the chaos is still all around us, threatening us. But the long, dark nights or trials we must go through because we are concentrating on the problem instead of on the light and love of Christ no longer has control. While doing this, while we're focusing on Jesus and his light and his love, he's gradually getting us to where he wants us to be. And suddenly, we are there. We are where he wants us to be, in his light and in his love. We have reached our destination. We are in his presence and aware of him. We are where we are supposed to be. Stop, I urge you, to stop letting the folly of fear hinder you from willingly receiving Jesus. Accept his help. Willingly accept Jesus, and you will find that you are suddenly where you're supposed to be. In his comfort, in his light, in his love, in his joy, and his eternal salvation, which is freely given. And suddenly, we're there. Is there anyone out there who will willingly receive the love and help that Jesus has for you? If you would stand on your feet, we're there. Again, we extend the invitation to you if you want to come on the principle of baptism, or if you want to come on letter of Christian experience. If you need a church to worship in while you're away from your home church, this is the church to be, and we welcome you. I truly, truly want to let you know that Jesus is truly there for you, that you don't have to go through a whole bunch of trouble and chaos all by yourself. Yes, the problems will still be there, but you have the help you need in Jesus. And if you would just come and receive him, willingly receive him, he will be with you. He will get you to where it is you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be in a bunch of chaos, worrying about this and worrying about that, because he's in control and he'll take care of that for you. Is there one? I urge you, is there one to receive Jesus Christ willingly into your life? If not, I guess I'm praying that we have a safe church, so be blessed.